Real estate lead conversion comes to a bunch of different factors, from what specifically you say to how you sound to ultimately how you make a prospect and a client feel. So in this one, we're going to discuss every single thing there is to with lead conversion. And I'm going to walk you through a training that I did with a $150 million organization that walks you and helps you with every single thing that you'll ever possibly need to know. What's up, guys? My name is Gagan Timsina, and you probably don't want to hear too much from me right now. You want to see me in a nice polo and discussing these things. So I'll take you right there. So we'll see you there right now.
You're spending an hour with me here today, and I'm grateful. And I'm going to make sure this hour is as impactful and awesome as it can possibly be. So with that being said, let me actually make it so that I'm a man of my words. Lana, can I share my screen, please?
Yes, please. 1 second.
Kem, Sagat, Sagar, Diraj, Osmar. Glad to have you guys on. Matt, super grateful you're here. Johnny. These are just people in my organization.
Alex Miller? Alex Miller's in the house too.
Alex Miller's in the house.
What's up, Alex? How's that YouTube going? Just kidding. And
Doing
then
great.
I said, Matt, hey.
I'm Alex's glorified assistant on YouTube.
I like that. Good.
Okay, guys, this is going to be interactive. I'm going to be using a lot of you guys here because, once again, I hate those training sessions where people just talk to me. I think they're super duper boring. And also, the whole point of rhetoric is to have someone to use that rhetoric with. It's to make sure that we can have dialect and good dialogue as well. So if I'm name calling you, please unmute and we can discuss this further. But moving on, the topic is very, very simple that I want to discuss. It's talking with people. Can you guys share put a 1 in the chat if you can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it. It's good.
Okay, perfect. So topic for today, I have an hour. I want to make sure that this is the most impactful hour that we can give you. I appreciate you guys being here. You don't have to be here, so super duper grateful for that. And it's about talking with people that want to talk to you. So why do I actually have the position that I have right now to speak about this thing? My name is Gagan, licensed in New York and Denver, Colorado. So any of your referrals, please send them my way. In the industry since I was 18, so I've been doing this just about four and a half years. Our referral partners in 2023 closed a little north over $125 million in volume. So this isn't just theory, it's systems that we've built out. We've produced over $20 million worth of expired listings ourselves, just off of expired listings with an average price point of 1.1, 1.2 million. And then we mentor and coach on lead generating. So if you're at Real, great job. If you're not at Real, don't know what you're doing, should be at Real. Here's some properties that we took. Just for example, this was a 3.3 million in California. This was a 3.5 over in Washington. And for all of our Portland people here, this was an 850 that we took with Matt. He's on the call right now in Portland, Oregon, and then Port Orchard, Washington. So just proof of concept. What we're going to talk about, it works. It's not just theory. It's practical stuff that we have a mathematical equation for. Rest of the word, whoever says it first, say it during my presentation. It's not actually going to be on here. I will say it. So listen carefully. The first half of the work is pork. You got to get the second half of the word and then say it. Moving on. The people that we bring this to, actual expired listings for sale by owners, all these things, these are not me. These are people. These are proof of concept. So it's not just going to work when someone that's been doing this for multiple years. These are brand new agents that are taking this. And look at the market. It's in California. It is one of the most difficult markets that we know. With that being said, why do we actually call expired listings and for sale by owners? If you guys have a writing utensil, please have this at your disposal. But I want to talk about why this is the best lead source right now. And it's very, very simple. Because number one, they raise their hand and they are asking for help, right? If someone puts their house on the market, Lana, it's fair to say that they wanted to sell it. If someone is putting their house in the market and it doesn't work out, or there's a potential chance in which you can help mitigate a lot of the mistakes that they can make, that's your opportunity and that's your job. You know what I'm saying, Alex? So Gavin, the next thing that we can talk about is the level of competition is very, very slim. That's not to say, Melissa, that people aren't calling expireds. It's to say that the people that are calling expired, Sagat, aren't doing a good job at it because it takes specific skills. Moving on from that, most of the times it comes down to 2 problems, Connor. We know what those problems are. Number 1, it's the agent, and number 2, it's the marketing. You can blame the market as much as you want, but if you can do your job well enough, these people are going to work with you and they're going to close with you. Hector, you know what's really great about working with expireds and for sale by owners? The fact that they become lifelong referral partners. They needed something done. We had a we had a client that we're working with. She wanted to go to Missouri. Her mom was in hospice. They couldn't close in the house because they were overpriced. They weren't marketing correctly. There was nothing going on with it. We took care of that in Washington, and we've got 7 referral leads from her already. They become lifelong partners, Cindy. It's also very easily scalable. If you can get really, really good at this, you can train and coach people to do the exact same thing in your marketplace, which means you have an ISA team that does the heavy lifting for you. Then you have to get really, really good at listing presentations, whatever else it may be. Moving on, it solves a real life problem. And then finally, let's say you can convert 1 expired listing a day. That's it, Kevin. 1 expired listing a day, Alex, right? Average price point of 500,000 in this market. It's 20 leads a month. And let's say you suck at your job. You don't. You're amazing at your job. We know that. But let's say you suck at your job and you only convert 30%. So 0.3, that's 6, and only 2 or 3 of them sell. That's still an extra $30,000 to $45,000 a month off of 3 to 4. So who would love an extra $30,000 to $45,000 a month?
Me.
Perfect. Glad to hear it. The specific rhetoric that we use here, it's not just applied to expireds and FSBOs. I'm going to give you guys a very simple equation. It's mathematically thought out that can be applied to any single industry and any sort of lead sources. If we have specific people that are SOI, online leads, whatever else it may be, these pieces of rhetoric, this specific wording can be applied to every single one of these things because we tested it out and it's proven. So let's move on to the fun shit. How do you actually get these numbers? If you go to your market watch and just press expireds, the actual house is going to be there. You put that house in something called fast people search. All of that information is going to be prevalent if you can't afford a dialer. I'm going to go over the top $3 to use in just 1 second, Melissa. But if you don't have that money right now, and that's completely okay. When I first started out, I had to do this myself. Then this is how you go. You go to Market Watch on your MLS and you put it right here. Does that make sense to everyone? Perfect. Cool. Guys, can we turn our cameras on, man? I want to see your pretty faces. I want to see if people are engaged. Isn't it annoying when people are on their phones and stuff and you don't know that, Lana? So let's get to the fun shit, right? Like, let's get to the fun shit. Let's do the things that people are actually here to do. And that's make a lot of money. I'm going to help you do that because with for sale by owners and expired listings, what's important about these calls is 3 things. Please write this down. Number 1, the least important thing, believe it or not, is what you say. The least important thing is what you say. 50% of this conversation is going to be how you say it. Right, Courtney? Right, Janelle? Colby? Megan? It's how we actually say these words that are so important. And we're going to role play this out. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. And then 40% of this is the energy that you give off. What does that mean? What does the energy actually mean? It means doing what Alex is doing right now, standing up. It means doing what Gavin's going to do in 2 seconds, smiling, having positive energy. See, I got you there, right? Being actually intrusive with your thoughts and having these conversations from a place of, I want to help these people, will change the energy that you give off. And that's why we're in this industry. We're going to make a shit ton of money, but we also want to help a shit ton of people. I don't know if I can curse. Focusing on the solution, giving them what they want. And then the timeline for expired listings. And this is critical because a lot of people give up. When I say you have very minimal conversations and just no competition whatsoever, people will give up after the first or second conversation, Brian. And we don't want that. The timeline is you have to expect the fact that they will never sell with you. But you know what's crazy, Lana, is Jordan did over $1 billion in sales and the Wi-Fi is still shitty. Like, isn't that crazy? Alex knows. There is no timeline. It all comes down to how well you can present yourself in the living room. Who actually wants to know that? How to present yourself really well in the living room? Well, that sucks because we don't have time for that. So the next section, if Lana has me again, I'll go over exactly how to do that. Gotcha. How to actually get these expired listings. 3 things. Number 1, Mojo. Number 2, Vulcan 7. And then number 3 is going to be Redx. I personally use Mojo Dialer Their $999 is great. It's about $200 a month and $50 for the actual expires. The way that I think about it, I know it's an investment. If you sell one house at an average price point of 500,000, that's 15K. Your ROI is there. So check out these 3 things right here. Who's ready for a very, very simple mathematical equation? I think I'm a very left-brain person, so I think about things in a very, very specific, systematic sense. I want to make sure what I'm saying gets to the point. I'm not wasting their time and I'm not wasting my time. This is also an awesome picture. I know it is. 5 things that you need to do on a call. Number 1, can conversation occur? And Connor, what does this look like? I use very, very specific rhetoric. What I use is, number 1, is it for sale and it's still available? Right, Gavin? So the initial portion of that call, and please write this down so you have the top 5 things. The most important thing is, can the conversation occur? Because if conversation cannot occur, there's no point in having proper dialect. If I were to say, hey, Brian, how are you doing? And we talk, but I don't know if the conversation can occur with Brian. So if Brian's house expired, the way that this would look is, hey, Brian, is your house still available? Is it still for sale? And what this does specifically is it actually puts you in a position in which you can ask more questions. Because if they say, no, it's not for sale, it's already sold, or it's rented, whatever these things may be, and there's no potential chance of conversation, why would you have it? You're wasting your time. Versus if they said, yes, it is still for sale, or no, it's not for sale, do you have a buyer? Then you can move on. Alex, the next thing that we do is create or figure out the problem. Kylie, there's a specific reason that we go into problem next. And Hector, the reason for that is a lot of people, they just like to talk shit. I know. If you see Lana's and mine's text message, it goes on for hours. People love to talk shit. It's just the way that we work. When there's something that goes wrong, people will blame specific other things for that other than themselves. And the way that this is used is very, very specifically, what feedback did you get from the agent? Right, Cindy? Cindy, what feedback did your agent give you as to why this property didn't sell? Like, what are we missing here? And if you guys have noticed so far, these are not hard things. Like, we're not using fancy ass words. And I hate those conversations when people say, hey, it's the idiosyncrasies of what's juxtaposed with this property using specific condominium. Like, what the hell does that even mean, dude? Like, most people speak at a 3rd to 4th grade level. Slow it down, simplify the process, and ask them direct questions. Alex, is your property still for sale? Oh, it is still for sale. Great. Did your agent give you any feedback as to why it didn't sell? The third part is always going to be the motivation. Unless we have proper motivation for whatever system is being occurred, it cannot exist. Why are we in the industry? What is our motivation? What is our why? We want to make a lot of money. We want to help a lot of people, right? Why do people want to sell? And the way that motivation works is very, very simply, hey, if X, then Y. Alex, if this property had sold, what was the plan? Hector, I mean, this is a beautiful location. Are you guys staying local or are you getting out of here? If X happened, then Y, it creates a future tense for the conversation. They've already talked to us about the problem. We've established some level of rapport, so they're going to engage in this. If you ask for the motivation first, the biggest thing that you're going to get, the biggest thing that you're going to get is, why should I give you this information? And that's the biggest problem that people have when they make this initial call. The fact of the matter is, until they feel comfortable enough to talk to you, they're not going to want to. Moving on. This is probably the most important part. If you don't take anything away from this, please take this. Very, very simply, if you can offer them motivation minus the problem, which is a mathematical equation, be zero up. Gavin, this looks very, very simple, right? This might look complicated. It's not. What we do, Cindy, here is just simply boom. If X happened without Y, can X exist? If X happened without Y, can X exist? So what does that mean? Cindy, you want to get to Minnesota to be closer to your grandkids. Cindy, if I could show you a way in which you can get the property sold for top dollar without waiting till the springtime to be closer to your grandkids, then that would make sense, right? If X can happen without the problem, then can it actually exist? It's very, very simple. Does that make sense to everyone? Please raise your hand if that makes sense. Perfect. And then finally, very, very just you have to figure out once you have all of this information, what's the timeline, right? When can these conversations occur? And when are you actually going to implement yourself and input yourself into their process? That looks, does weekdays or weekends work better for you? The biggest problems that we used to have is we'd have great conversations with people. And then we'd say, hey, does tomorrow at 6 or 7 work better for you? And we thought, oh, hey, look, we closed them up perfectly. But then they said, oh, I can't for the rest of the week. And we're like, shit, well, this is awkward now. So does the weekdays or the weekend work better for you? It simplifies the entire process because now you know there's 7 days and they have to pick one. Getting all of that framework actually completed is just the conversation. You're going to face a lot of things, objections. When people say no, tonality, all of these things are there. But this, if you can just master this framework right here, if you can add this equation to your brain, Lana, you will convert more expired listings than you ever have before in your life. Cool? Cool. All right, guys, that's my entire presentation. No, I'm just kidding. Gotcha. Let's move on. What's the actual script? Who wants the script? Can you put a 1 in the chat if you want the script? Oh, this is so much fun. I feel like a conductor. Put a 1 in the chat if you want the script. Ooh, okay. How Tran, Hector, Sagat, Girl Math. Who's Girl Math? I'm a guy, Megan. I might not sound like one right now, but I don't have coffee. Here we go. Expired listings. Here's how it goes. Who wants to be my role play partner? Gavin, you're my role play partner. You ready? All right, Gavin is my role play partner for the intro, but anyone that has their cameras off, I'm going to pick on you next, I promise. So either have your cameras on or get ready to role play with me and get me embarrassed. Gavin, ring, ring.
Hey.
Hey, Gavin.
Hey, yeah, this is Gavin.
So the reason that we say, hey, Gavin, is because it creates an instance where there's a pause, right? When I say, hey, Gavin, Gavin's gonna be like, yeah, this is Gavin. And like, there's 1,000 ways. Hey, Gavin, this is Gagan with the Timsina team. I was calling about your property on Main Street. We don't say 123 Main Street. We don't say 46, 40 property 46 at 7th Street, XYZ, zip code 1, because it sounds like you're a salesperson. And it doesn't sound like you're a neighbor, right? When we talk and have these conversations, if I was talking to Lana, I'd say, hey, Lana, how's it going over there on Main Street? That's a normal conversation, right? So, hey, Gavin, this is Gagan with the Timsina team. I was calling about your property on Main Street. Would you still be opposed to getting it sold, or is it still available by any chance?
I would definitely not be opposed to that. Yes, it is still available.
Okay, perfect, Gavin. Right here, exactly. See? No, I wouldn't be opposed. Gavin and I, we haven't scripted this, have we? No, I wouldn't be opposed. Usually in that instance, we're going to get an objection right off the bat, and that's going to be, do you have a buyer? Right, Carly? When someone says, do we have a buyer? We have a database of buyers, but this isn't an objection until he gives this to us again. So I wouldn't be opposed. Yes, it's still for sale. No, it's not for sale. Right here, bringing buyers exactly what we do if there was an objection. Moving on, that's exactly why I'm calling, Gavin. I saw it was on the market 100 days. We say days because it has a higher level of impact, Lana, than saying months, right? 3 months, that number 3, I mean, give or take, 180 days is impactful. I saw it was on the market 180 days. Tell me, why do you think it didn't sell, Gavin? What are we not seeing here? And listen to the way that I'm asking the question. Like, listen to the actual frame of it, Carly. Like how it's, what are we not seeing? Go for it.
My agent was trash.
You know what's funny about what you just said, Gavin? That's the first thing that most people say, right? Agent, market, Connor, you know what's up next? Repairs. Courtney, you know what's after that? No buyers. Megan, I know you're listening, even if your camera's not on. You're right. They're right to everything. They're always going to be right because it is always the fault of something that happened. You just need to figure out how to actually frame it. You're the agent, you tell me, is one that I get a lot. Acknowledge, reaffirm, and move on. Gavin, 100% right now in this market, it really does depend on who you choose to actually get your home sold. And listen, this is a beautiful neighborhood. Are you planning on staying local if this had sold, or are you getting out of here? You're muted, buddy.
I'm getting out of here.
Oh my gosh, let's go to the motivation. Local? I'm definitely wanting to local. Getting out of here? Gavin, this is, I mean, where exactly are you looking to go?
I'm going to Costa Rica, baby.
Costa Rica, baby. Costa Rica is beautiful, Gavin. I actually just went there with my family last month and I got stung by a shark. What's taking you to Costa Rica?
Oh, it's my favorite place in the world.
I love that. Are you looking to retire or did I cut off?
Yeah.
Damn. Favorite place in the world. I love that, Gavin. What's taking you to Costa Rica? Just the beaches?
Yep. That's
Love
exactly
that. So
correct.
now we know what Gavin's true motivation is. The biggest thing I can tell you, Cindy, the biggest thing I can tell you, Osmar, Sagar, Johnny, I'm just saying people's names. This is really fun for me, guys, is when these people are talking, right? And they say they want to do X, that's not the completion. You need to get the derivative of that. That's the biggest thing I can tell you with motivation is you need to get derivatives. If Hector told me he's moving to California, that's not the motivation. If Lana told me she's going to Russia, that's not the motivation. That's just a place. All we have is a placement. We don't have motivation. The way that we frame that, the way that we ask that question is what's taking you to X? What's taking you to Minnesota? What's taking you to Costa Rica? Now we know Gavin's real motivation, right? We know that he wants to feel good. It's the best place in the world. The beaches are awesome. That's motivation. Costa Rica is not motivation. Costa Rica is the reason the motivation can occur. So write this down, please. Location is reason why motivation occurs. Location is reason why motivation occurs. Does that make sense to everyone? Raise your hand if that makes sense. Or am I being crazy here? Perfect. Location is reason why motivation occurs, right? It's beautiful. We know he's going there because he wants to retire. Excuse me, because he loves the beaches. Oh, wow. That's where you're going. That's awesome, Gavin. Getting clients where they need to go. That's exactly what we do. This is the pre-close. I don't like to say that we actually close anyone up. I think closing, the terminology of closing is resonated with just sales. I think of myself as a consultant, right? I want to give all the information that you need to make sure you have the best decision to make for you and your family. So don't think of this as a pre-close. Think of this as a pre-invitation to their house, right? Hey, Gavin, have you been paying attention to the local market in Colorado Springs? I would hope so. You're an agent.
Yes, I have.
Absolutely. And Gavin, it's changed a lot right now with the higher and higher interest rates going on and with people just having a lot of uncertainty. It really does matter just what the quality of the agent that you have that you choose. And Gavin, your house should have sold. Listen, I know you don't really know me, and this line right here, guys, I know you don't really know me, and we're just talking on the phone. You have to acknowledge what you're doing. Like they know it. You know, like when I'm on a date with a girl, like I'm on a date with her to see if I'm going to marry her. Well, I am. I don't know if the rest of you guys, right? But there's a purpose for the action. Everyone knows it. Acknowledge it. Listen, Gavin, I know you don't really know me, and we're just talking on the phone, but Gavin, if I could get this property sold so you can get to Costa Rica and retire, I mean, that's in the first place, right?
Exactly correct. Yes. What I've always wanted.
Bingo. Exactly. So how is Gavin going to say no to this, guys? Right here. This is problem minus, excuse me, this is motivation minus problem. If I can get you to Costa Rica so you can retire and be with the beaches and actually get this property sold because your agent sucked, he wouldn't be opposed. Why would he say that? Three things are going to happen right here. Gavin's going to say, oh, absolutely, come to my house. He's going to say no, in which you can dig further, or he's going to say no, but. Any of those things happen, you can circumvent that, right, Connor? Okay, great, Gavin. Before we actually make any big decisions, and this is, I love to say this, please have this written down in any script that you have, right? Before we make any big decisions, I'm not here to make a decision with you. I'm here to give you all the facts so you can make that decision yourself. Before we make any decisions, Gavin, let's just get together. I'll show you how we actually get property sold the second time around. And we're both confident that I'm the man who will sell your house. A little bit of NLP right here. This is taught to me by Bill Pipes. If I'm the man who will sell your house, then we can make some decisions. So does today at 6 or does the weekend work better for you?
I'm more of a weekend guy.
Okay, how about Saturday at noon?
Works perfect.
Perfect. The reason I say this today at 6, right? There's a much, statistically speaking, and this is from NAR, you can go look at the articles yourself. There's a much higher chance of the appointment actually occurring if it happened the same day of the conversation. So even if it's expired, even if it's for sale by owners, even if it's your leads, whatever else it may be, if you have time throughout the day, go on that appointment at that same day. There's a much higher chance of you actually meeting them in person and cancellation not occurring. That's the entire script. That's the entire script for the initial calls. It's not meant to be difficult. Like, this process is not meant to be difficult. The biggest things that realtors get paid for is to yap. Yap, yap, yap. So get really fucking good at yapping and you'll make a lot of money. That's the initial script. Does anyone have any questions about the script right now? Perfect. Cindy, you feel like you can take on the world right now? Hector, you're taking over South Florida. I think I saw you on Selling Sunset, buddy. You had those like chiseled abs and whatnot. Oh, I could have sworn it was you.
Not me,
Alex.
man. I wish.
Alex, get on the script. Gavin, get on the script. Perfect. But we have a problem. There's a massive problem right now. And I don't know if a lot of us understand it. The last half of the word is upine. Most of the business will not come from the initial call. Sagat, where will it come from?
Follow-ups.
Follow-up. The second half of the word is upine. Most of your actual appointments come follow-up. So here's a very, very simple follow-up script. We already did Gavin. Let's see. Ooh, Sagat, you're up. Let's go, Sagat. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Follow-up script. This is how it works, guys. Hi, Sagat. This is Gagan with the Timsina team. And by the way, I want to stress this. Don't see your brokerage. Do not see your brokerage, because if you're with Real is growing really, really fast. And I'm planning on making Real massive in Colorado, right? Real is going to grow super duper fast. And as Real grows, if all of you keep on saying Real, people are going to get sick and tired of that shit. So instead, it's, hey, this is the Gunther team, right? I don't know how to pronounce half of your last names. I'm so sorry. But like, this is the CL team. This is the Rodriguez group, right? Use your name because you are your own brand. So that's why I never say with Real. When I was with EXP, I never said with EXP. And if you're not with Real here, don't know what you're doing. Come on. Hi, Sagat. This is Gagan with the Timsina team. The last time that we spoke, you mentioned that you're looking to move to Cincinnati to retire. Is that still the plan? Right? Very, very simply, we move into the conversation. It's not, hey, how are you doing? Do you guys really think that you're the only person they're speaking with? That's hubris. That's complete hubris. A lot of agents are calling, sure, they may not have proper dialect and they may suck, but they're getting bombarded with conversations, which is why we move specifically and straight into the motivation. Hey, Sagat, this is a guy with the Timsina team. The last time that we spoke, you mentioned that you're looking to go to Cincinnati to retire. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, that's still the plan, Gagan. But like we talked about last time, we're just holding off for right now.
Yeah, guys, do you think Sagat has given me an objection just yet? No. Oh, gotcha, Cindy. I don't think that's an objection. Right, Janelle? Because all he said is he's holding back. We don't know what's holding him back. Just like how location is proximity to motivation, we don't know what's holding Sagat back. And that's why we asked this question right here. Great, Sagat. So it sounds to me like you do want to make a move, and it's just about timeline. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I know you're looking to get to Cincinnati just so you can be closer to your family as soon as possible. What specifically is holding us back?
Well, I don't know, Gagan. The market is just not, how we like it to be. The rates are just too high, and I feel like buying a new home over there is going to be expensive for us.
Absolutely. Now we have Sagat's problem, right, guys? We know what the actual problem is. It's not the sale of this property. He's in as bolded as I can, right? I have this with profanity even. This is important. Reaffirm. When someone tells us their problem, they're being vulnerable with us. And Courtney, I don't know about you, but if I spieled my entire life secrets to you about how X, Y, and Z happen, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. See, dude, like that would suck if you just went into your agenda. Like I would feel like you don't care. So you have to reaffirm. Sagat, 100%. And right now, with the rates changing that they have, like a lot of people are thinking the exact same thing as you. We move on from this and create situational awareness. The only way that you get good at situational awareness is this is going to piss you off, Gavin, but is by making more calls, right, Amy? That's it. I used to hate those motivational coaches that used to say, hey, you just need to be more consistent. Like, I'm like, I know I do. But that's all it boils down to. The more you make these calls, the better you'll be at actual awareness of these conversations. Your job is to systematically decompose the notion while still offering the motivation. Basically, you're giving them all the good without the bad. And it's not as hard as I make it seem. It's very, very simple, right? Hey, Sagat, I know your whole goal was to get to Cincinnati so you can buy that house. Sagat, what specific neighborhood were you looking at with your family?
Well, I don't have a specific neighborhood, but we're looking for something near the water.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, anything would work, but just we have a really low mortgage rate right now, and it just wouldn't make sense for us to pay double,
100%. Sagat, are you familiar with off-market properties right now?
Not really.
Sagat, off-market properties are properties in which you don't have to compete with other people for. There are things that our company, because we're a database company, helps find, and we work with a lot of local agents in Cincinnati to make sure you find the best deal. Now, Sagat, obviously you're not going to sell this property until you find the best one there. But if I could show you a way in which we can get you to Cincinnati without the deal of the rates and what things going on here with the specific buy down programs and get you the best property and get you top dollar for this one, then that's kind of what you want in the first place, right? That's what we talked about originally.
Yeah, I mean, if we can, buy a house without really having to pay too much every single month, that would help us out.
Absolutely.
Why don't you just send us information over? I'll look at it with my wife, and then we'll give you a call, okay?
100%, Sagat. I'm going to be sending you that information over right now. In fact, I'm going to send you over what we call a pre-marketing proposal. It talks about our team and I, what we do differently, why your property didn't sell, and how we're going to help you find the best rates with our preferred lending partners. Sagat, how about you and your wife take a look at that, come up with a list of questions, and those questions will be the first things that we talk about just tomorrow, or will the weekend work better just for that conversation?
Is that the same thing you sent last time we met? Or is it different?
Dude, you're just
You there, Gagan? Gagan!
okay. Am I back?
Are you there? You're back.
I'm there. Cool. Yeah, I guess God doesn't want me to answer your question. These are objections. We're going to go into all of these objection handlers. I don't want to go into this just right now. I have all of these written down actually. But when someone actually asks this question, someone says, hey, listen, is it the same packet of information that you sent me originally? The answer is always going to be no, because we're not going to send the same packet of information. Sagat, what we're going to be talking about here is actual specific buy down rate programs that our lending partners have, some off-market properties in Cincinnati that are close to the water that you don't have to compete with other people for. And Sagat, I'm going to show you exactly how we use AI and our technology tools to make sure your property is seen by not only people here, but all across the country. And that's the first thing we'll talk about, XYZ. Does tomorrow at 7 or does the weekend work better for you? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
We can do the weekends.
Weekends, perfect. I'll see you on weekend at like Saturday at 6, bring a bottle of Chardonnay and we'll go from there. But
I like drinking in the morning.
Can we kick this guy off the call, please? But long story short, that's how you actually break apart that dialogue, right? We have right here, guys, very, very simply put, we have right here their motivation. We always enhance the conversation with the motivation, Amy. Like that's how it works in every single industry. If I was selling tech, I would say the exact same thing. I would say the exact same thing. If I was selling solar, I'd say the exact same thing. The verbiage always is the same. It's just up to you, Lana, to decide how you want to use it. That's why we start with the motivation. Figure out what the actual problem is. If someone says I'm moving to Cincinnati, that's not their motivation. You guys have to realize that. If someone says the rates are the reason that we're not buying, that's not the problem. You have to realize that. There's always going to be a deeper layer, and it's up to you as the agent and the professional to ask the right questions. Once we do that and we break that apart, we still give them motivation without the problem. The equation is always the same, no matter what the conversation is. With that being said, there's always going to be a few objections that you guys always get, right? There's always going to be a few things that we always get throughout this conversation where there's 3 most common objections. And this is with data that's been collected with NAR, with my brokerage, with my team, all the stats. I'm going to go over all these things. I'm going to show you exactly how to decompose these conversations so you know exactly what to say. The second half of the word is you pine. The 3 most common objections, who knows what they are? Gavin, what's a common objection that you get?
I'm not ready.
Yeah. Amy, how about you?
I don't know if I can qualify.
Okay. Lana, any objections you guys get? Oh, I guess no. Colby, how about you? Cam, how about you? Oh, we're gonna make this awkward if this needs to be awkward. I do not care. Who has got objections? Cindy, what objections do you get?
I'm not ready yet.
Interest rates are too high.
Yeah, that's a really good one. So the 3 most common objections, regardless of the marketplace that we get, is I'm gonna just rent this out instead of selling it. Right? Hector, the election year one, I'm going to show you exactly how to get past that. That's a great objection. Next is bring me a buyer. If you're such a good agent, just bring me a buyer. And then finally, it's seasonal change, AKA I'm just going to wait. Right? I'm just going to wait is going to be the longest objection that you guys are going to get. And if you can figure out how to get past this, you will get in any living room. And then there's baby objection that we'll go over if we have time. I don't think we will. That's going to be for the next class if Lana's going to have me back. She's probably not. Can everyone say hip hip hooray? No, this group is dead. So no one's going to say hip hip hooray. There's no cameras on and no one's talking. So I'm going to say hip hip hooray. Let's go. Moving on. The renting objection. Thanks, Lana. I did see that. I'm grateful that you're here. Thanks for having me at Real, by the way. Renting. One question. Who knows what the question is except Sagat, because he knows the answer, because he's been working with me for 2 years. Sagat, how many deals do you have in escrow right now? And how many listings did you just take this week?
I have 2 under contract. I took a listing yesterday. I got one coming up on Sunday.
It's almost like the shit that we say works. It's crazy. Renting. There's one specific line, one specific thing that I say, and if you can get it, I'll give you a free one-on-one coaching session with me if you want it. Who knows what that line is? Hector, you're overthinking this. I promise you are, Hector. Janelle, you're overthinking this. Damn.
Hello. Hi.
Marie, what's the line?
Yeah,
I like my interest rate.
Huh?
sorry. Whenever somebody tells me that they would rather rent, I go over seller financing options.
That's great. Yeah. So I love that answer. Here specifically, when someone says they want to rent and it was a property that didn't sell, there's a very simple question that we have to ask. Janelle, you know what that is? You were talking. Dude, I don't know if that's your husband or whoever, but he's got great eyebrows.
Doesn't he? I'm so jealous of them.
Yeah, those are like popping. It's kind of crazy. Sorry. You were saying?
I was gonna say maybe a motivation objection. One that we've had is I like my interest rate.
Yeah, that's a really good one that we get. Tiffany, were you going to speak?
I was going to, but I was thinking the number one question that the potential seller is going to ask, or the agent. Sorry.
So what I'm going to ask the seller.
Oh, what kind of marketing did your previous agent do?
So this is what I would ask if it was an expired listing and they tell me they're going to rent now, right? What had you put your house in the market of renting? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, you
what
froze.
had you? What's up?
You froze up.
Sorry, you froze up when you answered that.
Okay, I'm going to talk with Jordan one-on-one. Get it? One-on-one? That was a joke, guys. But the question that I ask is, what had you put your house on the market in the first place over renting it out? It's a very, very simple question, but once we ask this, we understand what's going on. Hey, I've never been a landlord before and I'm moving states, right? I need to get the equity in the property. I'm going into foreclosure. All of these things, people are going to tell you if you can ask the right questions. I get this objection maybe out of every 20 call, maybe 4 or 5, right? If someone tells me they're going to rent it out, Gavin, all we need to do is ask the next logical question. We don't need to overthink this. What had you put your house on the market in the first place? Does that make sense to everyone? Raise your hand if that makes sense to you, please. Perfect. Let's move on. Buyer. Bring me a buyer. Bring me a buyer is the most common objection that you will ever get in the industry, by far. Bring me a buyer is the most common objection in the industry. But let's do this one together. What do you do for a living? Is you bring buyers and sellers together. It's your job to bring them a buyer. Bringing a buyer by is exactly what I do for a living. If someone were to ask me, hey, bring me a buyer, Gavin, bring me a buyer. Bringing a buyer by, Gagan, is exactly what I do for a living. I mean, while your house is sitting on the market, my team and I sold about 9 homes just like yours. So, I mean, why do you think your home didn't sell? I did bring a buyer. And at the end of the conversation, if they say, hey, listen, just bring me a buyer, Gavin, do you know what the difference between 1 buyer and 10 buyers in this market is? It's the power of leverage, right? You get the opportunity to grow with those buyers. You get to leverage those people and get the most money, the highest ROI for that action. That's why that bring me a buyer objection, we don't have to worry about it. This is the most difficult one that you'll get. And I said this here because I was curious about it. Also, I love these pictures. They're just so fun to me. I don't know why. The biggest objection you're going to get is I'm just going to wait. If someone says this, you don't know if this is an actual life predicament or if this is a condition. If it's something that's going on with their life, you can't change that and don't try to. Like your whole goal is to help people. But if it's a condition, if it's specific things that you can change, that's how we get that. Let's ask the right questions in order to get the right answers. With the rates going on right now, a lot more listings, not just expires, not just for sale by owners, a lot more listings are going to just wait. And as such, you're going to hear a lot of people say the specific things. I'm just going to wait. That means I don't see urgency, right, guys? Write that down. I don't see urgency. When someone says, I'm just going to wait, there's no urgency, and we need to create it. Very, very simply put, you need to figure out how to do that. First, we frozen again. Okay, unfrozen. Cool. We always start by acknowledging I can't talk. We always start by acknowledging the conversation and reaffirming. 100%, Connor. A lot of people have actually told me that they're going to wait. I mean, Connor, what specifically are you waiting for? Right? Like, what specifically are you waiting for? If someone tells me they want to go to Costa Rica, what's taking you to Costa Rica? Connor, if you're going to wait, why are you waiting? When people say this, one of the things that we get, some common objections. There's more buyers in spring. It's better pricing in the spring or the summertime. The rates can go lower. Our house sat on the market for a super duper long time and it didn't sell. Kids are going back to school, so there's a lot of hassle and a lot of people coming in. Then we create urgency and a deeper level of competency, right? When people say these things, these are all conditions in which you can change because you can get them the highest dollar. The way that that works is very, very simply, Connor. Yeah, everyone's thinking the exact same thing as you. And they're telling me they're just going to wait. But as a professional agent, because you're a professional, don't forget, there's over 1.5 million agents. Most of them are terrible, but you're a professional. As a professional agent, that scares me a little bit. Can I tell you why? You're asking for permission to have the conversation. This lowers the guard like crazy. When you ask for permission and people give it to you, they want to listen. Very simply, why? Well, with everyone putting their house in the market at the same time with the interest rates going lower, Connor, and with the Fed talking about raising interest rates even into the springtime at this point, what would it look like for your goal to actually move to Cincinnati and retire if you had to take $50,000, $60,000, or even $70,000 less than you wanted? We're giving a numeric value. I can call Sagat old, right? And then I can say he's 35, which makes him old. Giving a specific numeric value to anything makes it more prominent. It's just how simple it. When they see the net, when the seller sees a net sheet, they become more emotionally attached to it. And as such, when you tell them they can lose $50,000, $60,000, even $70,000, they get more emotionally attached to it. Or we can say very, very simply, hey, listen, with everyone putting their house in the market at the same time, and the Fed's talking about raising interest rates, do you know what the combination of more homes in the market plus less buyers would do to the value of your home? I have a feeling that it wouldn't be good. Common responses. I'm just not going to sell. Who's gotten this one before from their sellers? I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to sell. Right? We all get this. We're agents. We all get this. Listen, I know your whole goal, Cindy, was to move to Cincinnati so you can retire. And that's exactly why we need to meet, because this isn't a conversation about selling. It's about what we can get for your home now so you can make the most informed decision possible. So Cindy, before we actually make this, I can't wait to rewatch this and just see like where I'm stuck. Like, that's going to be so funny to me. The conversation isn't about selling their home. It's about giving them the most pragmatic solution, right? So before we make any decisions after that, okay, great. Before we make any decision, let's get together tomorrow at 6, and it's the exact same framework that we had originally. The conversations are very, very simple. It's just a matter of using the right dialect at the right time. Moving on. What do I do now? Right? So we know what to say. We have the initial portion of the conversation all taken care of. Here. We have the initial conversation done. Now we have the follow-up done. Then we have the objections that are handled. So what do we do now? I'm going to give you a list, a very simple strategy that you can do that will get you a lot more money and help a lot of people. Ooh, I already showed that away. Can't do that. First, get on the phone and get a lead. Next, figure out the lead's problem and solution and situation. Offer to meet and solve that. Beforehand, come up with numbers and solution. You're not going to a listing appointment unprepared. That's the dumbest thing that you can do. That's how you lose listings. Call them to make sure they're serious. If you're not pre-qualifying your people and you're a producing agent as it is, you're wasting your time. I've probably saved hundreds of hours from pre-qualifying people simply for the fact that I asked them, hey, listen, like, this is a conversation about getting you where you want to go. And if they say no, if there's hesitancy, I'm not driving 45 minutes to an hour for nothing. If you're a new agent, like Gavin, in your situation, absolutely go. It's the experience that matters, right? You might get the listing, you might not get the listing. It's okay, you're learning. Make sure you're dressed for the occasion. This is a massive one. Like, a lot of agents wear in Florida, I'm sure you know this, Hector, I've actually seen memes about it. They wear like baggy basketball shorts and a white shirt. And I'm like, dude, you're not dressed as a professional. Like, you're not going to get taken seriously. And then finally, understand your value as an agent and emphasize those things. That's what the listing presentation, we can talk about that next time. But that's how you take a listing and then show up and have a conversation with these people. It's not about conversion. It's not about getting a listing. It's not about any of those things. It's not about you. Like, don't think that this is about you. You're not important. It's about the fact that you're going to a seller and helping them with a massive problem. It's always about how can I give. And in that instance, you will make more money and help more people than you've ever done in the past. If you don't care about the outcome and only care about the activities that you're doing right now, you will help more people and make more money than you ever have before. Honestly, what I got for you. My last slide. Cool. I'm done.
Thank you.
Gagan, are you done? Oh my God.
No, I'm here.
No, it was amazing. If you guys have any questions right now, we still have some time. There was a lot that he went over, but if you guys remember, he really gave a step-by-step with the 5 things you need to call. He gave you some websites and how to deal with the expires. I love that script, that initial script, because really what that script is to get them into the objections, right? Where you talk about the follow-up. It's, think of that as kind of like the bait, and then you win in the follow-up. And in that follow-up, that's where the one-on-one with G Money is all about, right? To really start training yourself in objections. And thanks for giving those Costco free samples of the 3 most common objections.
Best.
Gagan, I got a question for you.
What's up?
What are you doing when you're pre-qualifying your appointments? Is you're calling 12 hours, 8 hours before? What does that look like? And is it just, hey, are you still ready to meet at this time? Or what does that conversation look like?
Do you want my pre-qualifying script?
Sure.
Who else wants it? Put one in the chat if you want it. I'll give it to you. here's what I'm doing during these pre-qualifications. I'm asking very, very simple questions, right? I'm asking what specifically has you moving? Like, is that motivation still the same thing? Are you still doing all these activities that you said you're going to do? And like, what's the timeline? Like, you know that this conversation is about actually making a move, right? So, I'll show it to you. This is it right here. Hey, we talked about this. I'm with Real. I'm with the Timsina team. Use the Timsina team. Use your specific area. I'm calling about our appointment today at 7. I had a few questions before I come out. Do you mind if I ask, right? You're moving out to blank. What's bringing you there? How soon do you want to be there? What's the price that you need? What's the lowest you'll go? How much do you owe on it? Are there any features that makes the property's value increase? Are there anything negative about it? Are all the decision makers there? This is an important one. This is really, really important, right? Because I can go meet with Brian, but I know he's not the decision maker. Like Lana needs to be there. And if Lana's not there, then that gives me multiple trips. Are you planning on interviewing more than just one agent? What are you looking for in the agent that represents you? Do you have any questions for me? I'm going to send you over and over. Do you feel comfortable and confident I can sell you your home? Are you planning to list your home with me when I come out today? Right? It's a very aggressive. It's not. This line is pretty aggressive, so use it wisely. But it's up to you deciding what you want to do, and then I'll share it with you guys right here. Next question. Damn, we got a lot of ones. Finally. All right, any other questions?
What's up, G? I have a question. So, given all your amazing experience and all these professionals online today, what has been an objection that it's just been the most challenging for you? Something where you're just like, I need to get better at this.
It's a great question. I think the biggest and the most problematic objection comes when there's a lack of motivation, right? Like when someone wanted to do something, but they're like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore, like X, Y, and Z. That gets really, really scary. Because it's like, hey, you might do something, you might not do something. So like, I don't know where to take the conversation. The other one is the lack of inventory, right? When they say, hey, listen, I wanted to buy right here, but there's such a massive lack of inventory that we know about off-market properties. I don't know what to do. At that point, I would just keep the follow-up game going. And then when they said, I'm going to rent this out, right? They're like, I'm going to rent this property out. I've been a landlord before. I know what I'm doing. I wanted to sell the property to see how much money I could make, but now I don't care. When it comes to that predicament, I wouldn't need an objection to handle them. I'm just going to try to get a follow-up game for the future. Cool.
Yeah, I don't think there is no decisive answer when you have, an objection where there's not a motivation.
Exactly.
You said it on the nail, and I think everyone needs to remind it's a long game. Like you said, you're not going to win at the first. And like you mentioned, you need to create that urgency and then get them on that follow-up. So, no, I love it.
Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? Guys, I don't know if you want to get up at 6:30 in the morning, but I do train my East Coast people on this. We role play every single morning, Monday through Friday at 8:30 in the morning on East Coast time. So if you want to show up, it's like 6:30 in the morning for you. You're more than welcome to show up. Just hit me up on Instagram. I'll send it over.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
What do you say when the seller tells you that they're interviewing their agents after you?
Sorry, what?
If they tell you that we're going to interview other agents.
Oh, absolutely, Janelle. In fact, you're making the right decision here. Selling your home is the most important decision that you can possibly make in terms of finances. I love the fact that you're interviewing other agents. Now, Janelle, with the agent that you choose, what's the most important quality?
Someone that communicates with me.
All I heard was with me, but whatever you say, it doesn't matter what you say, right? Janelle, if I could show you a way that we could not only use the tools and resources that we have here, but also involve every single agent in the marketplace and get them to bring their buyers, that would make financial sense for you in your move, right? Okay, great. Before we make any decisions, X, Y, and Z. So it's just about how can I incorporate the other agents in this conversation? A lot of the times, one of the things that we have is, hey, listen, I'm relisting with the same agent. All I say is, if I can have the agent represent you from the buyer side, would you be open to that? Most people don't know the difference. And they're like, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I want to bring them the transaction. Cool. Cool.
Gagan, what's the biggest success story from your friends or from your clients who actually were using these scripts and your system?
I just took a $9 million listing appointment yesterday in Washington, which is fun. We sold.
Give us more juice on it. Was it expired? Was FSBO?
Yeah, sorry. It was an expired listing. It was expired maybe 2 years ago. So I was running my voicemail dropper on them, and then they called me back. I was like, hey, would you still be open to selling the property? And they're like, yeah, we really want to get it sold, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. I'm like, hey, we're also listing agents. We sold X, Y, and Z homes here. Would you be open to conversating about that? And I'm like, yeah. So it really wasn't much of an objection handler. We also, we sold a 3.3 in Cali, a 3.5 in Washington. That's being built into 42 units right now that are each going to sell for 1.3, and we're the listing agents for that. So it turned out to be a really nice deal.
So when you do this circle prospecting, how far all the way back do you go?
I usually go 3 years. If you don't have a lot of data, Kem is in the Rochester market, which means he's going to have less data. I tell him to go back 5 years. All right, in our market in Washington and California, things like that, you can go up to 3. But if you are in a smaller marketplace, I'd say 5. And honestly, you can just keep calling people again and again if they don't pick up. You're not being a nuisance until someone tells you they're being a nuisance. Cool.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this were very insightful. Friends, have any more last minute questions? Because we are about to wrap this up.
If you want my listing presentation, tell Lana.
No, you guys slide into Gagan's DMs.
Damn it.
It's a joy to be around. He's part of our real family. Dual states, by the way. So that's awesome. Gagan, this has been very insightful. This is great. Thank you so much for your time. And
hey, if you made it to the end, super grateful for you. Want to just say one final thing. If you are interested in this kind of training, this kind of mentorship, or just a partnership here with us at Real Broker, all of our information is going to be linked in the description below. Looking forward to chatting with you soon. Hopefully we can get you on the right path and helping you grow. Talk with you soon.